Tonight with this historic blizzard, what they call a bomb cyclone that has slammed the Northeast, breaking records, several feet of snow, major cities paralyzed tonight. The system pushing right up the coast from Philadelphia to New York City and right into Boston. At least 5 states tonight with more than 2 feet of snow in some areas, winds gusting up to 84 miles per hour in Montauk, New York on the tip of Long Island. New York City tonight buried under the worst snowstorm in a decade, blinding snow. People on the street barely able to see right in front of them. Manhole fires breaking out, flames shooting.
A historic bomb cyclone has brought the Northeast to a standstill tonight, delivering blinding snow, hurricane-force wind gusts, and record-breaking snowfall totals across multiple states. From Philadelphia to New York City and into Boston, major metropolitan corridors have been paralyzed under feet of snow. Wind gusts topping 80 miles per hour intensified whiteout conditions, snapping trees, grounding transportation, and leaving hundreds of thousands without power. In several states, snowfall totals exceeded 2 feet, with coastal communities facing particularly severe impacts. Governors declared states of emergency as travel bans were enacted to keep roads clear for first responders. Airports shut down operations, highways emptied, and once busy city centers turned eerily quiet. Officials are warning residents that while the heaviest bans may be shifting, dangerous blowing snow and power restoration challenges remain ongoing across the region.
Tonight, from a blinding whiteout in New York City to more than a foot in Philadelphia and up to 2 feet expected in Boston, it's a record-breaking bomb cyclone blizzard that's far from finished.
I don't know if you can even see me. The wind is brutal. I couldn't even get the car door open to get out to show you the conditions.
Reporters Rondella Richardson and Ted Wayman from ABC Boston station WCVB braving hurricane-force wind gusts and even lightning and thunder along the Massachusetts coast before.
The storm's intensity has tested infrastructure at every level. Emergency crews have struggled to respond as vehicles, including ambulances and utility trucks, became trapped in deep drifts. In New York City, snowfall rates approached 3 inches per hour at times, overwhelming plow operations despite round-the-clock efforts. Coastal Massachusetts saw damaging winds and thundersnow, a rare and volatile phenomenon that underscores the storm's strength. More than 250,000 customers in Massachusetts alone lost power, with outages stretching across multiple states from Virginia northward. Across the Northeast, heavy, wet snow brought down hundreds of trees, blocking streets and damaging property. Air travel suffered massive disruption, with more than 11,000 flights canceled nationwide, creating ripple effects across the country. Officials continue urging residents to remain indoors, emphasizing that even as snowfall tapers, the combination of wind, drifting, and icy conditions presents ongoing hazards.
Yeah, hate to say that, but that's true, David. And behind me, more than 1.5 feet of snow piled high on the line of vehicles. But we've had double that already in Warwick, Rhode Island, 36.2 inches, one of the highest. And they're still snowing. You still see blizzard warnings there from eastern Connecticut, right up through eastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island, into coastal New Hampshire and Maine. Now, this is all going to come to an end overnight. But of course, there's more snow on the way. It's light. That's the good news. Tuesday night through Wednesday morning, even in New York City, you could see a few flakes flying, but it won't add up to much at all. You have to go west for the 3 to 6 inches. And then on Thursday into Friday.
And while communities dig out, forecasters are already tracking additional systems poised to move through later this week. Though lighter in comparison, even modest snowfall could compound existing recovery challenges, particularly in areas where snow removal and power restoration are still underway. Meteorologists note that temperature fluctuations may bring limited melting, but refreezing overnight could create dangerous travel conditions. Emergency management teams are now shifting from response to sustained recovery, assessing damage and restoring essential services. The broader concern is fatigue, for residents, crews, and infrastructure already stretched thin. This storm underscores the increasing volatility of winter weather patterns and the importance of preparedness across densely populated regions. As the Northeast confronts historic snowfall and braces for what comes next, the focus now shifts beyond U.S. borders, where violence has erupted following the death of one of Mexico's most powerful cartel leaders.
Mexican officials say Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, was killed in an Operation Sunday that also left nearly 3 dozen other cartel members dead. For the first time, video posted online and verified by ABC News showing part of that operation, followed by a barrage of gunfire and blasts. Overnight, the White House saying the U.S. provided intelligence support to the Mexican government and calling El Mencho one of the top traffickers.
Americans in several popular Mexican tourist destinations have been urged to shelter in place tonight after a major cartel leader was killed during a government operation. Authorities confirmed that Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho and head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, was killed in an operation near Guadalajara. The aftermath was swift and violent. Cartel members responded with coordinated retaliation, setting vehicles ablaze, erecting roadblocks, and forcing temporary airport shutdowns. Beach destinations and border cities experienced scenes of chaos as travelers scrambled for safety. The U.S. government confirmed it provided intelligence support during the operation and is now monitoring the evolving security situation closely. The State Department has been in contact with hundreds of American citizens across affected regions, advising them to remain indoors and follow local authorities' instructions.
Of fentanyl. The cartel responding with violence, turning beach towns into war zones, setting up hundreds of fiery roadblocks. Multiple businesses and vehicles set ablaze. The airport in Puerto Vallarta suspending all flights for a time, passengers evacuating on the tarmac. Today, some operations returning to normal.
David, the State Department says they've been in contact with hundreds of Americans in Mexico. Despite the widespread damage, the situation appears to be improving, but they're urging U.S. citizens to call their 24-hour hotline if they're unable to.
The killing of El Mencho represents a significant blow to one of Mexico's most powerful and violent criminal organizations, long associated with international drug trafficking and fentanyl distribution. But officials caution that such high-level removals often trigger temporary surges in violence as factions maneuver for control. In several cities, businesses closed abruptly and transportation corridors were blocked, disrupting both local residents and international visitors. Airports briefly suspended operations before gradually resuming limited service. Security analysts say the coming days will be critical in determining whether the unrest subsides or escalates. For now, U.S. officials are urging Americans in the region to remain vigilant and to contact consular services if assistance is needed. The volatility overseas comes as authorities here in the United States are investigating a serious security breach at one of the nation's most high-profile private residences.
Secure perimeter of President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home, allegedly armed with this shotgun and a gas can, and whether that young man identified as Austin Tucker Martin may have been motivated by an obsession with the Justice Department files on sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Police say Martin snuck onto Mar-a-Lago grounds in the dead of night on Sunday around 1:30 a.m., but he was spotted at the North Gate and confronted by the Secret Service and a sheriff's deputy.
He put down the gas can, raised the shotgun to a shooting position.
Federal authorities are investigating how a 21-year-old armed man was able to breach the secure perimeter of Mar-a-Lago before being shot and killed by law enforcement. According to officials, the individual approached the property in the early morning hours carrying a shotgun and a gas canister. He was confronted at the North Gate by Secret Service agents and a sheriff's deputy. Authorities say when he raised the weapon into a firing position, officers discharged their firearms, neutralizing the threat. The former president was not at the Florida property at the time of the incident. Investigators are now focused on understanding both the security lapse and the suspect's possible motive.
Martin died at the scene, and tonight investigators trying to piece together what brought him there. Sources tell us they believe he drove 10 hours to Florida from his home in North Carolina, where his family had reported him missing on Saturday. Police think he may have purchased the gun on the way. His alleged motive for being there is still a mystery. But sources tell us when officers searched Martin's car, they found writings related to the Epstein files. President Trump was not in Florida at the time, instead choosing to spend the weekend back at the White House. David, the FBI is taking the lead in this.
Sources indicate the suspect may have driven several hours from another state before arriving in Florida. Family members had reportedly filed a missing persons report prior to the confrontation. During a search of the suspect's vehicle, authorities recovered writings referencing the Justice Department's files related to Jeffrey Epstein, though investigators have not confirmed a definitive motive. The FBI is leading the investigation and reviewing surveillance footage, travel records, and digital evidence. Security experts note that high-profile properties remain persistent targets for individuals driven by ideology, grievance, or conspiracy. The incident has renewed scrutiny around perimeter security and rapid response protocols, particularly at locations associated with national political figures. Officials emphasize that the investigation remains active and that conclusions about intent have not yet been finalized. As federal investigators piece together those details, another case is raising new questions about planning and premeditation in a deeply troubling disappearance.
Tonight, sources familiar with the investigation into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie tell ABC News the masked man suspected of abducting the 84-year-old grandmother appeared at her front door sometime before the night she was taken. Among the images released by the FBI earlier this month was this one, showing the suspect without a backpack. Sources now tell ABC News that image was captured on Guthrie's Nest camera on a date prior to February 1st, when she was abducted.
New reporting tonight suggests that the suspect in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie may have appeared at her home prior to the night she was abducted. Sources familiar with the investigation indicate that an image captured on a door camera, previously released by federal authorities, was recorded on a separate date before the abduction occurred. That development raises the possibility that the suspect conducted surveillance of the property. Investigators are examining whether the individual initially approached the residence, noticed the presence of a camera, and returned later better prepared. The sheriff has previously described the case as a targeted kidnapping, though officials have not publicly detailed evidence supporting that conclusion.
Visits to the home?
David, that image caught our attention almost from the moment it was released. The exact period of time between the image without the backpack and the images with the backpack is not clear, but it does suggest at least the possibility that Nancy Guthrie's abduction may have been planned in advance.
And the second image with the backpack at the door, that is the night that
Authorities are now reviewing neighborhood footage dating back weeks before the incident, attempting to establish a timeline of activity around the home. Experts say the potential evidence of prior visits could indicate preparation and deliberate planning rather than a spontaneous act. Volunteers have continued to assist in search efforts, reflecting the deep impact the case has had on the local community. Law enforcement officials remain cautious about releasing further details, citing the integrity of the ongoing investigation. For the family, the uncertainty remains profound, and investigators continue to urge anyone with relevant footage or information to come forward. Tonight, a historic winter storm has crippled the Northeast. Americans in Mexico are sheltering amid cartel retaliation. Federal investigators are examining a deadly breach at Mar-a-Lago, and new developments suggest possible premeditation in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Each story underscores the fragile balance between preparedness and unpredictability, whether facing extreme weather, international instability, security threats, or unresolved criminal investigations. What questions do you believe authorities must answer next in these developing stories? For continuing coverage and in-depth analysis, be sure to like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more updates. And stay with us. Next video continues with major legal developments, economic fallout, international arrests, and a powerful moment in sports history.